Yeah, I think I'm less of a stickler about game design being like, how do you say, good.
Welcome to RPG Book Club LongCast, the podcast where we play a little bitty bit of a biggie big video game and talk about how it makes us feel. I am Sam Allman.
I'm David Bernard Houck.
I'm Matty Grace Webben, though I would suggest that sometimes we also play a totally normal amount of a long video game, except nothing happens in it.
This is we played 2 chapters of this game, but it's going to be a light week.
Yeah.
I realized something about this game, which is that it's got the game design, and this is not an original thought, but it's that this thing I already knew in my brain because, spoiler alert, Tim Rogers says this in his review, it became apparent while playing this week, which is that, yeah, this game really does have the game design of a first-person shooter, of like a level-based FPS. Like, this game has the plot structure of, like, Halo 3. Except when you play Halo 3, you expect that plot structure, and when you play an RPG, you don't.
Yeah. But as Bernard alluded to, we were playing chapters 5 and 6, I believe, of Final Fantasy XIII today. And yeah, let's dive right in. I do not remember what happened because I played it a long time ago, and this episode is pushed back twice. So I will be following along with the convenient data log that they provide because they are a nice thing.
Yeah, I had to, mostly because of me, I think, we had to push this back quite a bit. So we all played it a while ago, and actually when I got back from my trip that I won't go into because we're not doing the whole how's your week thing, when I got back from my trip, I was like, oh damn, I gotta play FF. And it wasn't until I had, like, opened up my Xbox, because this is back when we were going to record, I think we were originally going to record, like, on Wednesday this week or something. So, like, on Monday, or maybe Tuesday, I sit down and I open up my Xbox, and I log in, and I go to FF13, and it's not until I get to, like, the load game screen that I'm like, wait a second, I've already played all of it and don't have any more to play. I'm silly. And that was, like, 5 days ago, so...
Yeah. But, oh well. Thankfully, there is a data log, so I can follow along, and Maddie's brain is less broken than mine, and Bernard has notes.
Here's the thing. I don't remember even though I may not remember the plot so much this week, I do not. The plot isn't really important anyway, and I actually do very clearly remember the few things that I actually think are good about this week. So I'm fine.
Yeah. But we will start talking about the plot as soon as we are done listening to the cool Gapra Whitewood music.
All the music in this game is cool.
Yeah, it is.
I would love to hear it someday.
So, Bernard, what happened in Chapter 5?
Well, Lightning and Hope enter the Gapra Whitewood like they said they were going to do. The Gapra Whitewood is like this enormous forest with fake-looking, very tall trees and a weird path floating through it way up in the trees.
You're telling me an FF13 area is just a bunch of graphics with a path floating through it?
Yep. Hope asks Lightning to let him take point. She's like, can you handle it? He says it's not a question of can or can't. She's like, now you're learning. The Gapra Whitewood, I already said that. Lightning and Hope walk down some hallways, is what I was supposed to say next. Hope asks Lightning if she's ever been here before. She has not. This area is under a different cop jurisdiction. She gives him her survival knife to keep him safe, but she says she'll want it back. He tells her he's glad he followed her. They walk down some more hallways.
Am I forgetting, or is this actually the first mention of the survival knife in the game besides if you noticed it in the inventory?
Yes.
Okay, so we haven't gotten to the scene where the flashback.
No, right, that comes later.
That's neat. So if you're not being a super sleuth like me and, using the game's extensive menus to actually learn what the plot is, this is the first point we realize that she has some kind of special knife. Neat.
Mm-hmm.
Would make more sense if we knew about it before she gave it to him as a gift, but whatever. Narrative structure, what is it?
No, I actually prefer the narrative structure of not knowing what it is, where she's just like, here, have this, and then you find out that it was important, and it's like lightning, you're not as hard as you look. You're kind of...
That's true, because you wouldn't, because it's actually a big deal that she gives him this special gift, but up until this point, we think of her as sort of a stoic badass. That's a good point.
Yeah. They walk down some more hallways. Lightning mentions the military uses this place for bioweapons research. Lightning and Hope hide from some cops and deduce that the cops aren't even looking for them. The cops don't know about the LaCie because SciComm is covering up their failure. They walk down some more hallways and talk about how much they hate Snow. Apparently, Nora, the name of his gang, stands for no obligations, rules, or authority.
I'm going to have a really hard time getting through this without yelling about politics.
I know.
Let's put it this way. Lightning's right about everything, and fuck Snow. Snow's a great character, and I love him in this game, but now that I know a lot of Snows in real life, I hate him.
Lightning and Hope reach the forest floor. Lightning says this is a facility for turning wildlife into weapons. After walking through some hallways, they take a break. Lightning can tell Hope's upset and guesses that it's about Snow. She asks what happened between them. He says she wouldn't understand. Like he's the only one who has the experiences of having a mom and losing someone. Like he doesn't know. He wasn't there when Lightning lost someone dear to her recently.
Yeah.
Lightning is like, we're partners. So Hope tells her that Snow got his mom killed and dragged them all into this, and that he needs to pay. After walking through a linear area, which is not really a hallway even though it's linear, we see a flashback to day 12 in Bodom. It's Lightning's birthday dinner. Snow and Sarah have just told Lightning that Sarah's a LaCie and that they're getting married. Lightning does not believe them about the LaCie thing. She's really pissed off. She tells Sarah, if you are a LaCie, it's my job to deal with you. Sarah runs off. Snow tells Lightning to stop being a bitch, and Lightning tells Snow to stop being a bitch. Snow leaves, saying he'll protect Sarah. Left alone, Lightning's attention turns to an unopened present. She finds the survival knife in it. How practical, she says. A news report plays, stating that a pulse fal'Cie was found in Bodom. Lightning realizes Sarah was telling the truth. As they delve deeper into the forest, Hope and Lightning come across some dead soldiers. Lightning says they came looking for them, but found something worse. Hope says they can't leave them like this, but Lightning tells him not to touch anything. Control your emotions. If you want to survive, you forget about sympathy. She tells him to focus on his ultimate goal and shut out all else. To think of it like a strategy. Hope says he'll do that. He'll call his revenge plot Operation Nora. His mother's name was Nora.
God fucking
weird.
Damn it.
Batman versus Superman.
Batman versus Superman ass bullshit. Except arguably stupider.
I haven't seen Batman versus Superman, so I wouldn't know.
I'll spoil it. I haven't seen it either, but here's the thing. I kind of never want to watch it because my BFF says it's not just a bad movie, but is the worst movie she's ever seen in her entire life.
Yeah, it's bad.
And it's like physically painful to watch. So I might watch it at some point. Batman and Superman, they're like being versus, right? Hence the name of the movie. And fighting each other. Towards the end, there's like a big, what's supposed to be an emotional twist or something, where they find that both of their dead parents had the same name. That's
That's
it.
silly. And
It's
do they
so-
become friends because of that?
Yep. They
That's
stop fighting
stupid.
because of it. It's
That's
very
weird.
stupid.
It's funny because having the only one of all of these movies I've seen, well, this like series of this like miniature sub-series is Zack Snyder's Justice League specifically, and that movie fucking rules. So it's really funny that apparently OG Justice League and also Batman v Superman are such dog shit.
Oh yeah, the Justice League series started off horribly with Man of Steel, and then they decided
that movie
let's do more of it.
sucked.
Yeah, and like not to like be the resident comics expert, but it like woefully misunderstands the concept of Superman, and they were like, good enough, let's go with it. And then they just built a universe on a really shitty foundation, and all the times they could have course corrected and made it better, they made it worse until Zack Snyder's Justice League, which I heard is really good.
Yeah, and also, Superman isn't in the movie.
Yeah.
So that's a big part of maybe what makes it work. I don't know. But yeah, just very, very, very funny that all these movies are such dog shit. And then I watched that time Justice League, and I'm like, I hear you. I hear the criticisms. I understand. I get that this movie's worldview is somewhere between. Well, I'm not going to rank exactly how fascist it is, but it fucks. It's a great movie.
Yeah.
Look, if you're going to ignore movies that are ideologically fascist, you're ignoring most movies.
So yeah, Lightning tells him that Snow did not kill his mother. The Sanctum did. Hope says fine.
That's
He'll
right.
fight the Sanctum with her so he can learn to survive. He probably still wants to kill Snow. They press onward, but we see some sort of device next to a dead soldier, blinking and beeping. Lightning and Hope fight a boss and exit the Gapra Whitewood. They see Palom Polum in the distance. Lightning says they can stop by Hope's house, but Hope says no. There's only his dad there anyway. Lightning says he needs to tell him what happened. We see the Lindblom again, which is the massive airship from before. The mysterious Australian woman, who we totally know is named Fang because we have subtitle names turned on, tells Snow that it's time to hunt some lassie. Snow looks at the tear that fell from Sarah and asks if he's doing the right thing. Day 12 in Bodom. Snow and Sarah run away from SACOM soldiers. They hop on a flying motorcycle and flee to the Vestige, which is still in Bodom. Sarah leaps to a platform on the Vestige. Snow's about to follow, but weird molten metal-looking stuff comes out of the Vestige and swallows her up. A barrier clamps shut over the spot that drew Sarah in and emits a pulse that sends Snow flying. He crashes on the beach. Back in the Lindblom, Snow seems to agree that it's time to hunt some lassie. He hops in a flying motorcycle and says, "I will keep my promise, Lightning." Now we see Vanille and Saz wandering through a beautiful forest called the Sunleth Waterscape. It actually looks like a real place, unlike the Gapra Whitewood and most other places in this game.
This location is a fan favorite.
For a reason.
Probably because of what Bernard just said. It looks like a place, and here's the thing. This game's graphics, I don't know if I mentioned this enough, are fucking incredible.
Yeah.
They were fucking incredible in 2013, and they still are incredible to... Oh my god, I just realized FF13 came out in... Wait, no, it didn't.
Came out in 2009. But they were
Yeah.
incredible in 2013, that is true.
Yeah.
That's true. It would have been even more stupid if it had come out in 2013. But at any rate, yeah. So, but and the incredible graphics really show when instead of being in some weird bullshit place, you're just in like a beautiful naturey valley. Also, the music that plays here is a fan favorite. Maybe we should pop it in later.
Yeah.
I don't particularly love it. It's just kind of a vaguely Euro kind of derfunky beats kind of no, it's not really derfunky beats. It's just kind of like that kind of like woo-woo like really light low-key woo-woo EDM sort of cover of the game's main theme. But it is a vocal track, and it's kind of interesting to have a vocal track for a random field theme.
Yeah, this isn't like a particularly important place.
No, but it's just they thought, hey, we're just gonna blow this really nice little tune on this area. So good, yeah, it's cool. There's a reason. Like pretty much every FF fan is just like, oh yeah, I love this part, and me too.
So earlier you were like, oh, it's so stupid that if it would have come out in 2013, and that made me think of how Skyrim came out on 11/11/11, and then my stupid brain that has a bachelor's degree was like, maybe the next Elder Scrolls will come out on 22/22/22.
Starfield is coming out 11/11/21, which is silly. 10 years.
Wait, that game real? Wait, that game's real?
Yeah, they announced it's coming. Like,
have they showed more than like a announcement trailer for it?
Not really, but they showed a longer cinematic trailer. I think at E3, and they announced it's coming out 11/11/21, which it's hilarious to announce a release date that far out.
That's silly. Bethesda is dumb. That's my opinion. First, I tried to say Todd Howard, and the first thing I said was sock, and the second thing I said was Ton. Todd Howard can suck my dick and balls, personally.
Did you say 21 as in next month, or?
Oh, no, 22.
22, okay.
Oh, yeah, that's why I was so confused, because I thought you did say it's coming out in literally a month. I was like, No,
11/11/22, I'm sorry.
Okay. Yeah.
So 11/11, then 11 plus 11.
Yeah. Yes. Gotcha.
And, yeah. 11 years after Skyrim.
Wait, but if you write it out the way that we would normally write it, which is like, you said 11 plus 11, but we normally put, there's two ways to write out dates. You can put little slashes between them or little hyphens. So if you call 11 plus 11 with little hyphens, that's 11 minus 11 minus 11 plus 11, so it's coming out on 0.
Anyway.
Chapter 6.
Vanille and Saz see airships flying in the direction of Palom Polum. Saz wonders if they're pursuing lightning and hope. There's nothing they can do, so they decide to run the other way, to the city of Nautilus. As they walk, Vanille asks Saz if he has any family. He has a son, but he's no longer married. Vanille says they have to get him home. Saz says, it's too late. Vanille says he might be able to see, but he's still a daddy. She asks him what his son's name is.
Yeah, he is.
It would be funnier if he really was, but he's not particularly.
Well, I don't have a good view on what that is as a non-gay man, so I think he's daddy.
I mean, Barrett is more daddy. When I'm thinking of Final Fantasy daddies...
Okay, true, yes.
Now I'm just thinking who else in Final Fantasy is daddy.
Pretty light on the daddies if I understand the concept properly.
Most of them are twinks.
Yeah.
Sid from Final Fantasy VII?
Jack might be daddy.
Jack?
Yeah, new Final Fantasy Origin Jack.
Oh yeah, I would call him daddy.
Yeah.
Oh, I thought it was Final Fantasy VII. Yeah, guy rules.
Yeah.
Yo, hold on. Did y'all see the new fucking video, which is a gameplay video where they like just beat a boss or something, and then Final Fantasy Origins guy, like, I think someone tries to explain lore to him, and he tells him to shut the fuck up, and then he turns around and plays a Linkin Park song on his iPod.
It's worse. It's Limp Bizkit.
Oh, sorry, that's what I meant to say, and I apologize to Linkin Park for verbally mixing them up with a bad band when they are in fact a very good band. My sincerest apologies to Chester Bennington. May his soul rest in peace.
The best part about the Limp Bizkit song is it's not any Limp Bizkit song that's come out before. It is whoever the composer for the game wrote a new song and hired Limp Bizkit on purpose. It's not like they were like, oh, what song can we license that's like a new metal song? No. They went on purpose to
they wanted to do new metal song.
All of this is to say that Final Fantasy Origin Stranger of Paradise is going to be the greatest game Square has made in a decade.
Yes.
Yeah.
I agree.
Yeah. I meant to actually play it this time around, but I think it ends tonight and I'm not going to play it today. So I will. I need to. But
play the game when it fucking comes out. Whatever.
Yeah.
I haven't played the demo because I know I'm going to play the game when it comes out.
Yeah.
So we have another flashback to day 11 in Bodum. Saz and his son Daj sit watching fireworks. Daj makes a wish, and I'm not sure I actually made it clear before, but that's like a thing you do at this festival is you wish on the fireworks.
Mm-hmm.
Saz asks Daj what he wished for. Daj says Saz is never happy, so he wished that he would cheer up and be his old self again. Saz puts on a smile for his son and says it's his turn to wish. But when Daj asks what his wish is, he says it's a secret. Did he wish for a hot lady? Because a hot lady walks up. But before we can find out anything about the hot lady, the flashback ends. Vanille and Saz press onwards. A tutorial warns us to avoid the scale beasts up ahead because they're too tough, so we fight one and beat it to prove the game wrong.
And I will say, I've been doing a low level run. It took some doing, but actually, I believe it took me literally 4 tries. But it's still, it's really not that bad. Even if you're doing low level. I avoided them in the future, not because they were too hard, but because I'm trying to do low level, and they give a lot of experience points. Excuse me, Crystarium points.
Thank you. As someone who's not doing a low-level run, I fought a couple, and mainly it just took a really long time.
Mm-hmm. Yeah,
there were sometimes when I got in a fight with one on accident, and I didn't run away. I just fought it.
Basically, it's the concept of fighting them is fine, but if you don't keep on your toes, they can make you go from fine to dead very, very, very quickly. So you have to just make sure you're being real careful to not put yourself in a situation, basically. Make liberal use of potions. I actually think by the end of this dungeon I had, because again, low level, being a little aggressive, maybe being a little stupid, I did end I ended the previous dungeon, the previous chapter, I ended with 0 Phoenix Downs. Because that boss actually gave me a rough time, and I ended up using all my Phoenix Downs. So this whole dungeon I had 0 of them, and they're actually kind of expensive. Money's hard to come by in this game.
Yeah,
and in real life.
Yeah,
very true.
So if someone also, unlike other games, because this game, none of these classes work on their own. Like, the game only works when your characters work together. So if someone dies, you just give up. It's like, I literally would just hit start and hit retry if someone dies, because there's no fucking point.
Yeah. I skipped every single fight this chapter because I was playing it my only night the original week we were going to record it that I had any time to play. So I was rushing through it, and that quickly then became like 3 weeks of available time. But at the time I was like, oh no, I gotta hurry. I can't stop to fight anything. So my Saz and Vanille are gonna suck for a while. Except
I actually think the game
gets Crystarium points for every fight.
Exactly. It's got bullpen, because when I started this chapter, I was like, oh damn, look at Saz and Vanille, look how many CPs they have, which is nice.
Nice. Yeah, so maybe I'll
look at how many CPUSAs they have.
Maybe I'll just have to like grind to hit cap next chapter or whatever, so that they'll catch back up in the background.
Where was I?
The tutorial about the strong enemy here.
Yes, after a while, Saz is tuckered out, so he lays down. Vanille gives Chocobo an anime speech about not giving up on your dreams. Saz says their next stop is Nautilus, the city of dreams. They both take a nap. Vanille wakes up to find Saz is missing. She finds him a little way off, staring over a lake. She senses he's upset, and she tells him not to blame himself. You can't choose who becomes a lessee. Saz reveals that his son Daj is a lessee too. Day 5 at the Eurodai Gorge plant. They pronounce it Eurodai, right?
Yeah.
All right.
So
Which is, the Eurodai Gorge plant was what was mentioned offhandedly by Lightning in a previous flashback as a thing. She was like, oh, she was talking with her boss, that Boston accent-ass cop guy that we loved. At least I loved him. And he was like, hey, Lightning, don't... I can't do a Boston accent right now. But yeah, you know...
Most times.
Whatever. Anyway, and she was like, you know, something... The incident at Eurodai Gorge plant.
Yes. So Dodge wanted to see a fal'Cie, so Saz took him to take a tour of the plant, but he loses track of Dodge, who runs into the plant. We see him unconscious with Vanille praying over him. Someone grabs her arm and pulls her away. We see a brand on Dodge's hand. Saz finds Dodge and sees it. Can I just say, it's so hard to say a single one-syllable word with a different vowel sound in between Saz and Dodge. Like, especially when I'm saying Saz asks Dodge. That's so hard to say.
Dodge. Hell yeah, I love ice cream. I also just want to clarify that no one but us, the viewer, sees Vanille. She's on screen for like a half a second and then she runs off.
Yeah.
Yes. Saz finds Dodge and sees the brand on his hand. Saz voiceovers saying that apparently those Pulse l'Cie had snuck in and tried to attack the Sanctum fal'Cie. It made Dodge a l'Cie to protect it. Having been chosen by the fal'Cie, Dodge is considered a hero. Psycom showed up to take custody of Dodge. We see the hot lady from before with them. They performed tests but couldn't figure out his focus. After becoming a l'Cie, Dodge had some way of sensing things from Pulse. He's the one who found the Pulse fal'Cie. Saz's only idea was that maybe Dodge's focus was to destroy the Pulse fal'Cie, so maybe he could do it for him. That's why he let himself get caught up in the purge. If he was right about Dodge's focus, Dodge is a crystal by now. But if his focus was to take out the Pulse l'Cie, either they die or Dodge becomes a Seath. They press on. They find a couple of boss monsters and kill them. They find their way out of the woods to a dock. Vanille asks Saz if he hates Pulse. Why wouldn't I, he says. But he didn't always. All the Sanctum propaganda seemed fishy. He figured the Sanctum was up to something, at least until he got dragged in. He says the purge only happened because Dodge found the fal'Cie. Don't blame him, Vanille says. It was all... ... Saz says, yeah, that scum from Pulse was behind it. Vanille runs into the rain, so Saz won't see her tears. End of chapter 6.
That's it.
Mm-hmm.
That didn't take long.
Not at all.
We walked... Here's the thing. I actually think I like this chapter more than the previous chapters. I like going through a dungeon where no plot development happens besides we go through the dungeon, but the characters talk about their feelings a lot.
Yeah, it's great, and I enjoyed the battles this week, and I enjoyed the graphics this week, and I enjoyed the music this week.
Yeah. Again, this game so far is reaffirming my initial assessment of it, which was that when I first played it, I actually really thought the battle system was good until it stops railroading you and holding your hand. Because to me, what makes this battle system so interesting is that neither of the two pairs you have this week are particularly good. Like, there's stuff you can't do. There's combos you don't really get to have, and that's weird and annoying, and like in a good way. Right? You're like, I don't remember anymore, but it's like, damn, I sure wish I could have, you know, this one plus this one, and it's like, no, you don't get to have that. You know, that would be great if you don't get to have it. So you just have to deal with it. Let's see, like, what is it? Saz and Vanille, like, neither of them are any good at being commandos.
Yes, no. Saz can be a commando, but he's not a very good one.
Yeah, that's the thing, because so commando is supposed to be better for dealing damage. That's the thing. Commando is for dealing damage. The other one, Ravager, is for getting their chain up. So normally, once you once you actually stagger an enemy, you want to switch people to commando to rack up the damage. But since Saz sucks so much at being a commando, at a certain point I had to realize that no, when I stagger the enemy, I need to stay on double Ravager mode, actually. Because getting that percent as high as possible, that's how you deal damage. And it wasn't until I realized that I was able to effectively own the more damage spongy enemies. And like, that's counterintuitive. It's literally not what the game tells you the rolls were for, but it had to do with the characters' stats and the situation, right? Like if Lightning had been in my party, I would have had her on commando, no squat, right? And then like one of the pairs, you have good buffs for your guys, but really you don't have any debuffs for the enemies. And the other one, you've got these good debuffs, right? But really don't really have any good buffs. It's also, wow, you know what? I think I mentioned this before. One of the marks of a good JRPG battle system is, do you actually use the status spells? And boy, howdy, do you. If you hit them with the lower your defense spell, holy moly, you annihilate them.
Yeah.
Yeah, and the status effects last a long time. And a lot of JRPGs, I find I don't use them because it's like, oh, you can spend a turn casting this spell and it increases one other person's defense a little bit for 3 turns. And I'm like,
exactly.
I'm not going to fucking do that. But it lasts long enough that it's totally worth it to switch someone to Synergist for a bit.
And also, I've never seen the game work this way before either. The way Synergist works in this game is a little bit odd. Or actually not Synergist. What's the debuff one?
Saboteur.
Saboteur, yeah, sabotaging them. It's cool because normally you'd think like, oh, you switch to Saboteur, you cast the spells real fast, and then you're done. Boring, right? No, the spells have a really low success rate, which makes sense because they're amazing. So lowering the enemy's defense is extremely important and good, but has a low success rate. But, and here's the part I've never seen before, the debuff spells deal damage. Only a little bit, but a little bit. So it's like having a commando, because that damage that you're dealing keeps their break meter from going down. So you saws on, you have one person on Ravager and the other person on Saboteur, or you have Commando Saboteur, although I don't think that was an option this time around. And it's kind of like you're doing Commando. It's kind of like you're doing Commando Ravager, even except not as good. And so it's like it might take a little bit. And how long you want to keep trying to get this out of it before you decide to cut your losses and say fuck it, because like sunk cost fallacy depends like on the battle and depends on the enemies, depends on the situation. Really cool little brain think.
Yeah. I really liked it this week. I also realized that 2 synergists are not the same, and so like
yes,
I don't remember if it's Hope or Vanille, whichever one of the synergists we have, or Hope or Saws. I mean, I don't remember which one it is, but one of them I don't like any of the spells that they have. It's like not worth it for me. It's like one of them gives you shell and protect, and those are good, and the other one gives you like attacking things, which are better. And it's like, I really want to attack better, but all I have is higher defense, and I don't need it because I just want to deal damage really fast. And that's
also extremely cool that like, each character has a unique set of abilities for their class.
Yeah.
Which, again, I think will probably be less the case once things open up more. I think probably everyone's going to be able to get more of the same abilities as their Crystarium grows.
Yeah, I mean, and this just goes along with one of my age-old things about, like, games that let you just do whatever you want and build your character however you want and just like, have all the abilities. That's not good. That's lame. It's not fun. Sorry. If I have a skill tree, like with like Western RPGs, modern day Western RPGs, if you go down one skill tree, it doesn't like lock you out of another one, right? It's just like, no, you can just max out everything, right? And then like with FF14. Honestly, I love FF14. It's actually the right decision for this game because FF14 isn't about good game design. It's about vibes and just chilling. But like, it's not a compelling game design at all, that you can just be every class, right? But also like what are they gonna say? In games like FF4 or whatever, it's like, no, we're giving you some tools and you gotta figure out how to solve the problem with your tools.
Mhm.
It's a puzzle. You got to figure it out, and that's fun, you know. And Kingdom Hearts Chain of Memories, the Riku part of the game is way better than the Sora part of the game because you don't get to actually build your deck.
Yeah.
Because build your deck, it's like, okay, deck, easy peasy, done. Game's over. Anyway, yeah, this game's really digging into that idea, and it's good.
Yeah. So let's listen to that Chapter 6 track, and then we'll talk about our memorable moments for the week. All right, Maddie, which ones do you have?
I just got, well, I want to share some observations more like, also some ones that I meant to say before. I didn't mention this last week, last episode, but I hadn't noticed at the beginning of the game, but it turns out that every chapter in this game, I'm sure we've noticed, as Sam noticed at the very beginning, every chapter is one location, which is why now when the characters are in different locations, they each have to have their own chapters. We don't have that character switching anymore. It's probably for like memory game programming reasons. Because dramatically, I would say it's not necessarily as effective as it could be. But here's the thing. One thing that's really impressive is that all of these enormous, beautiful, detailed environments are all the word. They're all streamed seamlessly. You can run from the beginning of the dungeon all the way to the end with no load screens or anything. You don't notice that at the beginning of the game because there's so many cutscenes and also perspective switches. So when there's a cutscene, you're not going to notice there wasn't a load screen because the game had a gap, right, in your seamlessness. Yeah. But yeah, I noticed in like when we were at Lake Brescia and now and now when we're in this area, Sunleth Waterscape, it's like, oh, these areas really change. Like you start off in this area and then you go through this big building and then you go through this like fortress and then there's like an area with, where and there's lighting changes and weather changes and then it starts raining and then and it's like these huge areas that go from one thing into another completely seamlessly. And that's really impressive and cool. Actually, again, it would be more impressive if you didn't switch to a battle screen every time you went into battle. If it all happened in the same screen, it would actually be more clear that was going on. But I'm sure the programmers are probably really proud of pulling that off, and good on them.
Yeah, that's really cool and impressive. It kind of reminds me how God of War 2018 has that really cool and impressive thing of all being one take, and I'm like, that is so cool and so impressive. But also, if you die or stop playing this 18-hour game at any point, that is kind of ruined.
Yeah. No, totally. Yeah, I do want to briefly comment a few things. First of all, that I am in fact going to comment on this game's politics. Not my broad read of it. Spoiler, Falsey or metaphor for the Communist Party. But sorry, Lussie. No. Yes, whatever.
Lussie.
What the fuck is it? Shit. Depends on how you look at it. And I don't mean that in a bad way. Well, I mean that in a very complicated way. Read Vivian Gornick, people. Anyway, but also CP, Cristerium points. There you go, right? It's right there. But anyway, I think that this game is an incredible portrayal of how of quote unquote, and what I mean by politics, people don't know what politics is, right? You got gamers who are like, stop putting politics in my, oh man, they I can't believe they put politics in Metal Gear, right? Or like, or like politics is like gay people or something. No, politics, first of all, is a broad term and it's evolved throughout history, right? But one person famously said politics is about how to use what you have to get what you want, right? Or something like that. But I would find politics as how to make a decision about how to accomplish a goal, basically, or how people collectively make decisions about how to accomplish goals. And this game is all about that. This game is pretty much just about a bunch of people in a shit situation, and they all have different ideas about how to deal with it. And they're pursuing, and it's exploring their psychologies of why they have different approaches to things. In a way that I don't often see in games. I think I actually mentioned this on a previous game as well, when the characters briefly, like, checked in to make sure they were all on the same page about something. Oh, it was in Tales of Symphonia. And I was so impressed by that, even though it was like a minor one-off scene. That's all this game is about. We have, everyone's got their own response to the situation, some of which are more reasonable than others. So Snow's response to the situation is, well, I don't totally get Snow's response to the situation. It's very incoherent. And I don't mean that in a critical way to the game. I think that's just, some people are very incoherent. He ping-pongs from one thing to the next, right? Yeah. He takes whatever's in front of him and he goes for it. He's an opportunist in many ways. In the traditional political sense, not in what we nowadays think of as an opportunist. Whereas Lightning is like, I see who the real bad guys are and I'm going to kill them. Now, I think she goes a little bit too far because she is ignoring all the complicated lore, which I think probably is relevant to her, what she should probably be doing. But I do inherently identify with Lightning's ideology of just like, yeah, no, the bad guys, the Sanctum are the bad guys. We got to go kill the bad guys. Hey, Hope, stop being. We need to stop fighting amongst ourselves and kill the bad guys. Makes perfect sense. And then you have Vadil, who is like, let's run away. I would like to see that explored a little more. I don't see that as a very common ideology. Well, I guess you do kind of see that. Some people's response to problems is to retreat from them and pretend they don't exist. And then you have Hope, who's like, no, I have my own personal vendetta that is sort of my main thing that I'm trying to do here, right? And then Saz has his own thing that I hope we get to explore later. It's just really, really cool. And all these, and every scene between the characters just talking about this shit is where the game just fucking shines. Line that stood out to me was, Bernard actually read it word for word earlier, wasn't expecting that, when they see the dead body, or the dying person, and Hope's like, we gotta save him, I'm a plucky anime kid. And Lightning says, if you want to survive, you gotta forget about sympathy. I actually thought she said empathy, so either I'm misremembering or Bernard mistranscribed it. But they're, slightly different depending on which of those you're looking at, right? But I think that's awesome. Like, it seems callous, but she's like, no, like eye on the fucking prize. Like, if you let your emotions constantly affect what you're doing on a moment-to-moment basis the way Snow does, you're never going to accomplish your goal. And that's not actually a callous thing to do, because your goal is itself, and this is me talking here, driven by emotions, right? Like, your goal is driven by emotions. You're not being emotionless, but your emotional goal is, I gotta go kill the fuck out of Sanctum and save the world. If you let your moment-to-moment oscillations in your emotions, your sympathy for this or that problem get in the way, you're never going to accomplish it. And also, you're going to literally die. It was super cool. I think she's a total badass.
Yeah, that actually segues perfectly into one that I had, because I had the data log entry for that scene is great. So it's yada, yada, yada. She says, shut out everything else. And he's like, okay, cool. I'm going to do Operation Nora, et cetera, et cetera. And so then the part I love is, Lightning soon realizes her mistake. Her lecture to abandon compassion was intended as a warning against the hesitation she fears will be his undoing, but he has clearly interpreted it as a cue to hurl himself headlong into harm's way. Regretting her words, Lightning continues on through the Whitewood. And it's good. Yeah. And I like it.
Yeah. And then the whole Nora thing. Snow is just, there's a lot of people exactly like Snow. What does Nora stand for? No obligations.
Obligation, rules, or authority.
That fucking sucks. Good job accomplishing anything, Snow. Get back to me when you, I don't know, enjoy your community garden or your autonomous zone or whatever the fuck. Fuck off. Anyway, but the funny thing is, I feel like the game is in many ways very, very coherent about what each character's ideology is and what they think about things. There is one moment where I think there isn't, which I just think this is a bit of a bit of a flub with the game's writing, but I think it's funny. When at the very beginning, when Hope is like, let me take point, which is a great moment of growth for him. He's the character who's actually going through an arc in this game so far. He's like, let me take point. And that's cool. He's growing. And the Lightning's like, are you sure you can handle it? And he echoes her own words back at her. It's not about can or can't. Only, do or whatever. But what's funny about that is like, okay, like we're not talking about being brave here. We're talking about like operational success.
Yeah.
like yes, in general you should be brave and do things, but if you and someone else are engaged in a difficult situation, you should obviously think about what is the smartest way to handle the situation. Yeah. And it's cool that you're being brave, but you can still be brave while letting the person who is better at fighting take point. Yeah. So it totally goes against Lightning's like, eye on the prize, I'm focused on strategy and tactics and accomplishing goals at all times mindset. It doesn't actually make sense that she would say that, or that she would be chill with it, or maybe if he says it. And maybe in her head she knows that that's stupid. But she's just like, we'll be fine. We'll be fine. Look, if he fucks it up, I'll cast a Phoenix down on him. It'll be fine, right? but it is funny that ideologically, like, he's not right there at all. And you know what? Now that I think about it, though, that's another example of him perhaps misunderstanding her words to him, which is cute. But yeah, I laughed a little bit at that line. I'm like, no, Hope, that's not what she meant, you dumbass.
I also found it really funny how there's this big thing about how he's going to take point at the beginning of this zone. Then halfway through the zone, very unceremoniously, Lightning's like, I'll take point now. And it's just because they want to have it switch to where you're in direct control of Lightning. It's just like, yeah, I'll take point.
Yeah, they just want to. Yeah, this game has really stupid contrivances for which character you play as at any given moment. However, it's good that it does that, because even like, not only is your party not controlled, but which character you control directly and which character you have to rely on AI is another interesting restriction that the game forces upon you. Mm-hmm. So they're just like, look, fuck it, we want the player to play as Lightning here, so just like whatever. Yeah. I almost would not even mind if it's cute that the game tries to have a plot justification for it, because like, I honestly would respect it just as much if the game had a text box that was just like, hey, you're Lightning now, deal with it. Because we fucking said so. Mm-hmm. I think that's all I had. I had one more silly comment about some little thing, but I forget what it was.
What about you, Bernard?
I think I have really just one that we haven't touched on so far. I really like Saz. He is a great character so far. He's great at being a sad dad in a video game. And I really like the part where he's talking about if his son's focus was to destroy the Pulse Fal'Cie, then he's a crystal by now. But if it's to destroy us, and he sort of takes out his gun and looks at it, and then Chocobo hops on it and like holds out its wings and shakes his head, and he says, but the bird says no, and puts his gun away. I really like that. I thought it was really cute.
Yeah.
It's just like recognizing this, I can't actually do that. It's not actually an option.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I really enjoyed Chocobo, besides just being a cute thing this week. Like, I felt they adequately used its character, which was really nice.
Vanille giving a little anime Hope speech to it was a little funny.
Yeah.
Vanille continues to be,
a lot.
Vanille.
Yeah.
I love how Vanille is so hurt every time people say bad things about Pulse people. It's just like, bitch, everything they're saying is completely reasonable. Like, come on. Like, oh no, people are upset with me for the things that I did.
Yeah, because like, prior to this chapter, it felt like, oh, it's all a conspiracy. It was Psycom the whole time, or whatever. But then in the flashback, we see her turn him into a Lassie, or turn Dodge into a Lassie, or whatever. We see her like,
kind of shocking. It's like, oh fuck.
Oh, I don't know if she was turning Dodge into a Lassie, because he's a Sanctum Lassie.
Yeah.
But
That doesn't make sense, but visually it seems like that's what was happening.
Yeah.
I just thought she was like praying over him or seeing if he was okay or something.
Yeah. We'll see what happens there.
I thought the idea was that they were there doing some sort of Final Fantasy VII style terrorism, and Dodge was made a Lassie by the Sanctum Falsi because they were there. It was like Jedi's Lassie.
So like they're responsible for it, but they didn't like turn it into a Lassie.
Yeah,
Maybe so.
Makes sense. Yeah, I love the way that the game is slowly showing us how the characters are just all extremely interconnected. In these flashbacks, like the way they're doing it is weird sometimes. I still don't get why Vanille's the narrator. The way the 13 days are the way when the flashbacks happen and where is kind of odd. But the whole where it's like, yeah, in media res, we know Lightning's there for some specific reason, but it seems like Dodge is just. It seems like Saz was just a prisoner, but oh no. Saz also was. These two people both intentionally got captured and intentionally were on the prisoner train so they could fuck shit up for unrelated reasons.
And it finally explains why Saz was following Lightning around, which in Chapter 1, it's like he seems very reluctant to follow her around, but he does. Why is that?
Yeah.
But now we know, because they actually shared a goal.
Yeah, it's just a really neat game. It's really funny how there's been no plot development at all, even though we're so many chapters into the game. But
yeah, I think we're most of the way through Disc 2 at this point, and
oh yeah, I also forgot that that this game is like an HD remaster, HD like Xbox One enhanced version of the 360 version, which had multiple discs.
Yeah.
Because the PS3 version didn't, because it was Blu-ray, baby, right?
Yeah.
How many discs was it on Xbox 360?
I think 4.
That's amazing. The idea of a game coming out in the
check.
modern HD era on multiple discs, it's like such a throwback.
Yeah.
I mean, now we have occasionally games coming out on 2 Blu-ray discs where you have one that you have to install and then another one that you have to install then play from.
Which is nuts. Games,
Yeah.
that's
Games
a
are
lot
too
of...
big.
Yeah, that's too many gigabytes, baby.
Yeah.
I got the bigger of the two PlayStation 5s, and on my first day, I'm like, first day that I got it, I'm like, okay, let me install Final Fantasy 14 and Final Fantasy 7 Integrate and The Witcher 3, and now my hard drive is full, and this is the brand new one off the shelf, and only one of those games is brand new. The other two are old, but they're big, and
Holy cow, that's fucking wow.
There were only 3 discs in the Xbox 360 version of Final Fantasy 13. So we're probably not most of the way through disc 2. But probably disc 1 was shorter, probably because it just had a whole bunch of FMV.
And I don't know if this game is like it, but I know that the Mass Effect games that are multi-disc are like it, where disc 1, for some weird reason, is the beginning and the end. Yeah, and so the other discs have a lot of the systems and all of the stuff that you get to see over and over and over again. But the things that you see just one time are usually at the beginning and at the end, and so they put those on the same disc.
Didn't the original dot hack? What's the original series? What's the acronym for the original series? IMOC. Didn't dot hack IMOC be like, if you're in like the third fucking game and they want you to go back to a certain area, you have to put in the first game's disc?
I don't remember.
I feel like I heard that that's the case. It's like, yeah, because the RAM would still be like you're playing the third game, but like, oh, this area, like, you know what I mean? Like this area is on the first. I'm pretty sure I recall having to switch discs between multiple games.
I don't know. I have no idea. I try not to think about dot hack.
Yeah.
Reasonable.
But yeah, I think that will do it for the week. If you liked what you heard today and you want to hear more, you can head on over to www.rpgbook.club, where all donations help us play more of our LongCast and ShortCast series. Shout outs to everybody who came through for me last month when I had no paychecks, and they donated to completely unlock Final Fantasy 13-2 already. So we will be heading straight on into that one when we finish this one. And so we're currently trying to unlock Lightning Returns Final Fantasy 13. Don't know why they put the names backwards in that fucking game.
I believe the first game to do that was Dirge of Cerberus Final Fantasy VII.
I think so. But it's stupid because it's stupid. But yeah, so head on over there. You can make donations to unlock more of these, and also there's links to our Discord where we all hang out and where we record these episodes live. So feel free to come out and hang out with us. But for RPG Book Club, I have been Sam Allman.
I'm David Bernard Hauk.
And I am Maddie Grace Webbin.
Toodaloo, folks.
Goodbye.
We gotta go after the Fal'Cie.
There we go. Got it.
Me, so there's a YouTube called 8-Bit Music Theory, and they
sounds possibly good.
I really enjoy it. So 8-Bit Music Theory normally will go in and like music theory the shit out of it and be like, why do accidentals work in Paper Mario and not in Banjo-Kazooie, et cetera, like dig down into it. But they recently did I don't know, man, let's just talk about the vibes of Final Fantasy IX, and it's like, I get it.
Vibes are a big deal. Sometimes it's just all about vibes, you know what I mean?
Mm-hmm.
Especially Final Fantasy IX. Final Fantasy IX is 90% vibes and 10% actually having a good bit, 10% being the only good version of ATB, and 9% that, and then 1% the rest of the game.
Yes. Okay.
As I've grown older, I've come to dislike ATB less.
Yeah, I think I'm less of a stickler about game design being like, how do you say, good?
Yeah, it especially helps that we played the first one, me and you, Bernard, not too long ago, and we saw it being used correctly there. So then when all the other ones are only okay, it's easier to do it. But when we had only played the okay ones, it was just easier to see it as bad.
Mm-hmm.
But even when I was playing 7 and 8 recently, not finishing either, but just playing a bit of them just because that's what you do. I enjoyed it all right there.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. Nice.
10's battle system is still the best one, but
Damn right.
It's real good.
Well, no, the best one is Lost Odyssey.
Yes.